I want to read a couple lines by Heraclitus. All thoughts, all creeds, all dreams are true, all visions wild and strange. Man is the measure of all truth unto himself. All truth is change. All men do walk and sleep, and all have faith in that they dream. For all things are as they seem to all, and all things flow like a stream. There is no rest, no calm, no pause, nor good nor ill, nor light nor shade, nor essence nor eternal laws. For nothing is, but all is made. But if I dream that all these are, they are to me for that I dream. For all things are as they seem to all, and all things flow like a stream. You see, all things are in a perpetual state of change, of flux. There might be concreteness and also fluctuation, but you see, these are just merely opposites, and this is where the tension lies. But there is always something in between, the space between the opposites. And maybe this is what you might call human reason, consciousness, or the intellect. And you see, what is important to understand is that although everything is in a perpetual state of flux, what this is basically saying, or what you should be becoming aware of, is that the notion reason, or the notion truth, can be nothing but fallacious and pretentious. You see, to say something is true means to speak concreteness into the flux. And in the words of Alfred North Whitehead, this is a fallacy of misplaced concreteness. You see, there is nothing concrete. The universe is continuously moving. And you see, you must become like the sun, vulnerable and open, continuously letting light in and also giving light back. It's a push-pull. It takes and it gives. It gives ceaselessly. And it takes ceaselessly. You see, the sun, with its insurmountable mass, is completely vulnerable and open, and always gives its light regardless of the day or of its mood, if it had such a thing. You see, and you must become like the sun, completely open and completely vulnerable with the world and with yourself. You must take in as much as you can and also simultaneously give back as much as you possibly can. You see, to become like the sun means that your cup is always full and that you always have something to give. And you see, in order to become like this, you must be completely vulnerable and completely open. You must let go of any expectations or outcomes. You must not care, and you must just be, and you must just give. And it is okay to feel angry. When you're angry, be angry. When you're happy, be happy. When you're sad, be sad. Be what you are. But regardless of what you are, give. In sadness, give sadness. In happiness, give happiness. When you are angry, give anger. This is okay. It is okay to be an emotion. Is it okay? It is okay to feel things. You should not repudiate your emotions. You should not try to be constantly happy. You should not try to be constantly sad or melancholy or angry. You should be the emotion that you are. If you're contemplative, be contemplative. Be what you are. Be susceptible and allow yourself to be malleable to the inexorable change, to the flux. Be what you are. And if you are what you are, then you must realize that you're not going to be the same thing constantly. If you were angry earlier, you're not going to be angry later. And this also doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. You could be something else. You could be sad. But you aren't going to be the same thing always. This is essentially speaking concreteness into the flux again. You see, everything is constantly changing and everything is constantly moving, and you must accept this. But you should feel how you feel in these moments and allow yourself to feel this way. This is okay. Be what you are. Be like the sun. Become completely vulnerable with all the things that you are feeling, regardless of what it is that you are feeling. Allow it. Simply allow it and let go. And you see, when you do this, you will begin to become a profoundly attractive object, like the sun. Or I guess we should call you an entity or an organism, not merely an object. And you see, like the sun, which is a massive object, and which has planets which orbit around it due to its gravitational effect. And you see, the reason it has this gravitational effect is because it is massive and it continuously gives and it makes it attractive. Things are attracted to it. There would not be life on Earth without the photons that come from the sun, the heat. It sets up the perfect temperature so that life may prevail, which is probably why planets are attracted to it. It gives them the potential for things. And you see, if you become like the sun, and you continuously shine your light on others, what you are doing is giving them potential. You are making them realize what they are capable of doing. And this, I believe, is extremely important, especially if you want to be a leader. If you want people to follow by your example. You see, if you continuously shine your light, and you are always open and vulnerable with others, maybe sometimes people will not like you, but they must respect you. And if they don't, well, then you must accept that as well. At least you are being completely open and vulnerable and honest with yourself. You must always be what you are. Again, do not fake it. Do not put on this persona or mask and pretend to be something that you are not. Be what you are. And also, do not buy into the idea of truth. You see, philosophy is essentially predicated on the belief that there is an ultimate truth which philosophers are chasing, or rather have been chasing hitherto, since time immemorial, since literature, since writing, since philosophizing was born. You see, philosophers, human reason, they're after one thing, the truth. But what is truth? Well, in the words of Heraclitus, all things flow like a stream. So there cannot be truth, but there can be truth. You see, these are opposites. And this is the fundamental problem and axiom of lexicography. You see, this is a language problem. Language speaks concreteness into the flux, and it also speaks flux into the concreteness. You see, these are opposites. In all things, the tension of opposites seem to prevail, especially in language. But even in states of what you might call non-perceptibility. You see, well, or maybe they don't. But let's say they do. Well, then how could they? If you are in a state of non-perceptibility, how could the opposites prevail? Well, because there is an idea of perceptibility. But I guess this is merely an outside observation. Maybe the person who is in the state of non-perceptibility cannot perceive anything. But you see, this is an idea, and the only reason we can have this idea of non-perceptibility is because we have the idea of perceptibility. You see, the person who is non-perceptive does not have an idea of non-perception. He is simply what he is. There is no perception necessary. It is only our idea of non-perceptibility which makes it a thing, because we have an idea, on the contrary, of perceptibility. You see, there are always opposites. And this is what human reason, or the intellect, does. It simply just points out things that are different to the other. It differentiates them from the other thing and separates them. But this separation is merely an illusion. It is not what it is, but maybe it could be. But you see, this is the problem with language. We can say whatever we want. We can contemplate and think. But what is truth? If everything is in a constant state of change, and if all things flow like a stream, then there is no such thing as concreteness, which this means that everything is, in fact, ephemeral. It's transitory. It's fleeting. As Marcus Aurelius said, we must be aware that everything in this universe is fleeting. That we are undoubtedly on a collision course, or rather a disintegration course, because you see, entropy prevails. Everything is decaying. So, we are going to die. But you see, what is death? Death is merely an illusion as well, because if we think about it, and even if we think about it thermodynamically, if we think about the first law, which states that nothing is created nor destroyed, but merely changed. You see, just because a planet dies, doesn't mean that the planet is dead, meaning the stuff that it was made out of. The stuff that it was made out of still exists in the universe, although it disintegrates, or rather separates, into smaller and smaller bits, until it is no longer a planet, or a person, or a tree. But it still exists, because you see, we are a part, or rather we are the universe. We are not merely a part of it, we are it. It is us. And as William James would say, that the I is merely a noun of position. And you see, this seems to be true. But let's not call it true. This seems to be profound. Or rather, thought-provoking. You see, when we say that we are an I, that I am me, we are merely locating ourselves in a specific position, inside specific parameters. We are locating ourselves. But where is this I that you speak of? Where is it? Is it in your head? In your heart? In your stomach? In your foot? In your little finger? Where is it? Well, I guess this is the illusion. It's the separation illusion. We are differentiating ourselves from the whole of it, which, obviously, this is advantageous, especially for our survival. You see, if we didn't call ourselves I, or acknowledge that we are this body that we are in, we wouldn't feed it, or exercise, or drink water, or do the necessary things to keep it healthy. So, I guess this is important. But what I'm trying to say is that you should always remain open, that you should be what you are and let go. And understand that everything is changing. And this should bring you great joy. Because, you see, if you are depressed, you should know that, well, tomorrow you probably won't be. Or if you are tomorrow, well, maybe a month from now, you won't be. You see, everything changes. Everything gets better. Sometimes it gets worse, but it always gets better. If you're in a bad place currently, well, you should know that you'll eventually be in a good place again. Even if it's not for long. Because you see, in all things, the opposites prevail.